Hi everyone! So you have a new TV and like all of the latest really thin TVs, the sound is terrible. Before you rush out and buy a soundbar, give a thought to the old stereo system that you used to use for records and CDs, or maybe the one sitting in your garage that you were using 2 TVs ago. If you don't already have a stereo, I have a recommendation for a great and easy to use system at the end of this video. There are 3 easy steps to connect any stereo to a TV. Let's start by connecting the cables. Unfortunately, the big TV manufacturers provide these types of connections for their sound outputs. And most stereos need these types of connections. Is it possible that they want to make your old system obsolete so that you buy one of their new soundbars? Even if that's true, we're wise to their ways and have a workaround. This adapter can accept any of the 3 different types of digital connections from a TV and can output any of 4 different connections to a stereo system. I use one of these adapters on our family TV and it works really well. There are 2 situations though where you don't even need an adapter, and I'll cover those first. If you have a TV with red and white RCA audio outputs or a headphone output, these can be connected directly to any stereo with a standard audio cable. The sound quality using this method is better on some brands of TV than others, but it is hassle-free. If your stereo has an optical or HDMI ARC connector, these can also be connected directly to the TV with the right cable and give you the best possible sound quality. But for all other situations, we need to use an adapter. To use the HDMI ARC adapter properly, connect an HDMI cable between the HDMI connector on the adapter and the HDMI connector labelled ARC on the TV. There may be several HDMI connectors on your TV, but only one of them will be labelled ARC. Then you connect your audio cable between the red and white audio jacks on your adapter and the red and white RCA input jacks on your stereo. Then you connect the power cord and plug the power adapter into an outlet. This connection method will not only give us excellent audio quality, but the volume will be controlled by the TV remote, so we don't need a remote on the stereo. Normally, I say to use the socket on the stereo labelled AUX because it's very common and always works. But in the comments of previous videos, I've been asked, what do I do if the stereo doesn't have an AUX socket? So here are some other inputs that will work just as well. Occasionally the inputs are just numbered. Any one of these input jacks will work perfectly. Very importantly, never connect a TV or TV adapter to anything labelled phono. Other jacks that won't work are anything labelled out, output or record. For example, pre-out or tape record won't work. If your TV doesn't have an HDMI connector labelled ARC, then use the optical output, which will be labelled optical, Toslink, SPDIF or digital audio out. A few TVs have a coaxial output instead of optical. This will be labelled coax, SPDIF or digital audio out. Why do they use so many different names for the same thing? I don't know. But it sure seems like they're trying to confuse us, doesn't it? Coax and optical connections function in exactly the same way as each other. They just need a different cable. This adapter has sockets for either type of cable. The audio quality with coaxial or optical is exactly the same as with HDMI ARC, but the disadvantage is that the TV remote will not control the volume, so a different remote will be needed if we don't want to get up from the couch. I'll put links in the description to a couple of videos that give you options for remote controls. Now we'll turn the system on and change the settings on the TV. The TV settings are all set and forget, so we only have to fiddle with the settings once. After that, everything will just work as it should every time we turn it on. If you're using HDMI ARC, the TV should automatically detect the adapter and send the audio to it, and turn off the TV's internal speakers. If it doesn't do that, you need to turn on HDMI CEC in the TV settings. This chart tells you how to do that for most popular brands of TV. For HDMI ARC optical or coaxial connections, the digital output mode on the TV needs to be set for stereo use. TVs come from the factory with the audio output set to auto. That's fine for most modern soundbars or AV receivers, but this setting sometimes sends stereo system signals they can't decode, which will cause the sound to drop out. To fix that, the audio output mode must be set to PCM. Now, PCM is a technical term that on TVs just means stereo. They should just say stereo really, but by now we realize they're trying to confuse us, right? On most TVs, we go into settings and select either sound or audio and look for either digital audio out or sometimes just audio out. We're looking to change the output mode to PCM or stereo. Any of the other choices will cause problems for stereo systems. On Samsung TVs and some LG models, we go to Settings and then Sound and then Expert or Advanced Settings. Then we go to Digital Output Format and select PCM. Turning off the TV internal speakers happens automatically with HDMI ARC, but for optical or RCA TV connections, there's usually a setting in the sound menu to turn off the TV's internal speakers. Now your TV is set up to play through your stereo every time it turns on. Some stereos, like this mini amplifier, only have one input, so they're ready to enjoy at this point. If there are other inputs on your stereo, use the remote that came with it, or the buttons on the front panel to select the correct input. In most cases, you only have to do this once, unless you change input to listen to music with the TV off. There are some rare cases the stereo automatically selects the wrong input when you turn it on, like these Klipsch powered speakers, which always go to USB computer input when you turn them on. The input will have to be changed manually every time you use them, which isn't great. You can hook up any stereo that you already have, but if you're looking for a good choice for a new but affordable system, here's a recommendation. This AIYIMA AO7 Max mini amplifier is simple, affordable and powerful. It just has a single input, so it's always ready for your TV, and it has relay switch speaker outputs, so you get no pops or clicks when you turn it on and off, which is a nice touch at this price level. It also has a preamp output, which is perfect for connecting a powered subwoofer if you like some boom and thunder with your movies. This amplifier will drive any speakers you choose, but I do recommend the NUMI BS5s, which are really outstanding at their price level. For setting this system up, I have a trick that a viewer recommended. Plug the stereo into the controlled outlets on one of these smart energy saving power strips and plug the TV into the control outlet. Doing this means that the TV remote will turn the whole system on and off, and because we're using the HDMI ARC adapter, it will also control the volume through HDMI. This system is as easy and foolproof as a soundbar to operate, but sounds fantastic. If you like this video, then give me a thumbs up and subscribe. If you buy anything from the links in the description, it won't cost you any more, but it does help to support the channel and is very much appreciated. Thanks for watching, everyone.